Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Makeda Valletta, also known as the Renaissance Amazon, and I am live on my IG page, the Renaissance Amazon. I will save this video and repost it to my YouTube page, the Renaissance Amazon. I was going to go live in both places, but it was too complicated, so I just decided to stay here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with me, I am a native New Yorker, Harlem World, Sugar Hill to be exact. I currently live in New York City. I'm an 80s baby. Loved growing up in New York City in the 90s. I'm from the hip hop generation for sure. And I am a student of many things, okay? First and foremost, optimal health of the body, optimal health and performance of the body. You can find out more of my work on that on my page, The Body Scientist. But I'm also a dancer. I'm also very much into the arts. Okay, dancing is my art form. And I've been a muse for photographers, but my main art form is dance. I drum a little too, but I'm a dancer for the rest of my life. And I love music. Have been a fan of hip hop, and I'm a critic. Okay. So, and I love to analyze culture. I'm a sacred sexual educator, so I'm into all of those things, right? So that's my background in case you're unfamiliar with me. So, okay. So I want to talk about Diddy. I've made in New York City, my favorite city, my hometown. First, I just want to say that New York City does not play with people. Okay. If we see how New York City took down R. Kelly, Epstein, Weinstein, they got Donald Trump hemmed up right now. We'll have to see what kind of sentencing he gets. Donald Trump, a New York native, Diddy, a New York native, our mayor currently indicted under federal charges. Even when you look at hip hop, any New York City rappers who are like involved in gang activity are being locked up. Like New York City doesn't play. Hold on, let me drink some of my tea. But I just want to say, for those of us who are from New York City, we've always known Diddy was the devil, okay? This is not new information. I've done videos about Diddy. Sorry, the loud train going by. I've done videos about Diddy in the past, and I have, especially starting with the Cassie case that came out, and people were trying to defend him, and I'm like, come on, anybody, if you're in the entertainment industry, and especially if you're from New York, okay, you don't even have to be in the entertainment industry. If you're of a certain age and you're from New York, you knew Diddy was jacked up. I've been hearing stories about him my whole adult life from people who worked with him, okay, people who trained him, people who built studios for him. People have worked with him in different ways, and I never heard anything good about the man. I knew that he was robbing people, he didn't pay people, but I couldn't have imagined it was as bad as it is. And people keep comparing him to Hefner, and it's a bad analogy. Hefner didn't have a bunch of bodies, okay. Diddy is not just having, people keep deducing it to freak offs. No, first of all, these freak offs that he's having, he's drugging people, okay. And a lot of them are not consenting at all. So it's different than having like a big freak fest with consenting adults. That's one thing. But when you're drugging people and they don't know what's going on, then you're filming it, then you're trying to sell the videos, okay? Then you are selling the videos and sharing the videos. That's not the same thing as a group of consenting people who want to have sex, okay? Also, let me just say that people keep talking about all this baby oil, and people keep acting as if he uses the baby oil for lube, and it's like, no, because the feds clearly said they found baby oil and bottles of lube. So the baby oil, for me, when I first heard that, I never thought baby oil was being used for lube. I thought it's being used for visuals, because a lot of men like to see really oily bodies, and men are such visual creatures. But Sloan Bella, if we don't know who Sloan Bella is, she is a psychic who is on YouTube, who has been 100% accurate about all of this. Okay, she did a video on Kim Porter last year before Cassie's case even came out, And she predicted it down to the day. Okay. She predicted down to the day in November that this would happen. Then she predicted that something else would happen around Easter, which was the raid. Then when the raid happened by the feds, she said he's not going to go down now, but 6 months from now. And here we are, 6 months from now, because that raid was in March, it is now September. Okay. This woman has been 100% accurate. And she's with many things. And this woman said a year ago that Kim was writing a book. Okay. The way you can go check Stone Bella out. She's been going viral since this happened, but her accuracy is superb. And she said back then that Kim was writing a book. Okay. And she said back then that Kim was writing a book and that she had given it to a few different people that nobody would ever suspect. She said it wasn't people in her immediate friend group. And she said that, it was about the things that she had discovered, not about Diddy necessarily being gay or even domestic violence, even though that was a part of it. It was really about what she had uncovered about what he was doing with young boys, essaying them. Okay. And I'm using my, code words for social media, but assaulting them to harness their energy. And she said it sounds crazy, but this was happening, and Kim discovered it, and she just could no longer, look Diddy in the face. And so she was writing this book, and she had given it to, and kind of like a diary that she had documented everything that happened, and that she was giving it to some friends that nobody would suspect. So Sloan Bella said this a year ago. Okay. When I wasn't, and I think that this happened because the internet was asking her to do a reading on Kim Porter. Okay. Because people suspected that Diddy had offed her. And I'm going to say myself, I have one of my really good friends. He is in his late 50s, and he was around a lot of hip hop stuff back in the day. And years ago, he's the one that told me, because I think I might have mentioned Kim, because I always thought that Kim Porter was gorgeous. And I might have mentioned something about that to my friend about how Diddy really loved her. And my friend told me, no, he was really abusive and controlling. Very controlling. Wouldn't let her date anybody else, would take things away from her, take away the car, take away the house, take away this to try to control her. And, he was listening to everything she was doing and kind of stalking her. And so that's the first time I heard that was from a friend of mine. Okay. Back when everybody thought that Diddy loved everybody, or that Diddy loved her. And then when the fact that he kept changing his name from Puffy to P. Diddy to Diddy to Brother Love to Love, when he was doing that, I remember thinking to myself, that's a huge red flag if you keep changing your name. Like my name, I use the aliases I go by, the Renaissance Amazon and the Body Scientist has been consistent. It's been consistent for over a decade. I'm not like, oh, I'm this now. And I have a few aliases, but they've all stayed with me. I haven't been like, oh, I'm the Renaissance Amazon now. And then 2 years from now, I'm just Amazon. And then 2 years from that, I'm the Renaissance lover. And, that's suspect when somebody's doing that. You keep trying to reinvent yourself. That's a red flag. Hold on, I need to fix my earring. But also, people that wear sunglasses at night and sunglasses inside have always been suspect to me. I've always stood 10 toes down on that. And I have an ex who used to do that. He ended up being suspect. Okay. So I've always believed that. So there's those red flags. And it's funny because when you think about Diddy, you've never heard ever, you cannot find me one video where a chick ever said that she was attracted to Diddy. Ever. You can't find me one video where a chick was like, oh, I had a crush on him and he was looking fine and he came over. None, not one. There's plenty of videos of women talking about Tupac. Tupac been dead for 30 years. Women still talk about him. And you can find things from the past. And every single woman Diddy mess with Tupac first. And so it's funny even when people talk about women are jealous. Women are jealous. Women are jealous. And I always say men are more jealous. I think that a lot of the reasons why Diddy unalived Tupac was because he was jealous. And Tupac could get ladies for real, and Diddy couldn't. And Diddy hung out, like Diddy's bodyguard, Gene, said that he hung out with men that could get women because he couldn't, because women didn't like him. He took things by force. And I remember over the years trying to look at him and trying to find him attractive, and I never could find, he always repulsed me. Then when Young Miami started dating him, which I can't stand her. Okay, I cannot stand listening to that girl talk. It irks my nerves to no degree. Okay, listening to her voice is so annoying. She sounds so dumb and so ghetto, and it's like Miami ghetto, which is terrible. Okay, like I hate listening to her talk. I don't think she's cute. I just don't like her. Okay. But when people, I don't think she's talented at all. You know, I love the female rap girls. Not a fan of the city girls. You have never, in all my dancing videos, you never see me dancing to the city girls. I don't think either one of them are talented. Miami is not known for good rappers. Okay. I like Kodak Black, but he's an embarrassing idiot. And Rick Ross, you know, he was decent, but he's fake as F. Okay. Thank you for the compliment. So to me, that's not a rap city. And so anyhow, okay. When people were praising her for dating him, like I remember thinking, is she dumb? Like she's really dumb. Like you were young and dumb. You were too young to know what you're dealing with. Like this man is the devil. Why would you? Not only is he the devil, he had all these rumors of effing men and all kinds of weird stuff. And I remember, hold on. I remember when him and Cassie broke up, I remember thinking to myself, that's crazy because she knows all his weird, freaky things that we've been hearing about. So I remember thinking that. Hold on, I'm about to roll my blunt while I talk and multitask. So I remember thinking that, damn, she knows all his stuff. Like that has to be a weird breakup. Never could have imagined it was anywhere near as terrible as it is. Okay. And so when people just try to deduce it, okay, for those of you who are into weed, I am rolling this sativa strain called Sunny G, which I love. It smells like oranges. It smells so orangey. I love it. It's great. Anyhow, too bad Diddy can't use this in prison because he's obviously having withdrawal. It smells so good. Has such a strong orange smell. It smells like oranges that got kicked out the field. You see how pretty it is? Okay, anyhow. Diddy's going through withdrawal from all the drugs he was on. Cannabis, in case you didn't know. And I'm going to do a video on my page, The Body Scientist. So definitely check it out. But cannabis can help people who are going through, who are addicted to opioids or other medications of all sorts and are trying to get off of it. Cannabis can actually help that. And that's something that I will be doing a video about on my page, The Body Scientist. So that idiot is going through withdrawal in prison, which is great. Let him be the tortured soul that he deserves to be. But other comparison with him and Hugh Hefner is that Diddy has a lot of bodies, okay? Because that same friend of mine, okay, told me about the guy Shakir. I didn't know about him. And he told me, Kim, that there was a music exec who was in his 30s and he was rich and handsome. And he ended up dead. And they said he committed suicide. And my friend told me the rumor was always that Diddy did it, okay? And that he didn't commit suicide. What rich 30-something-year-old millionaire record exec black man is going to kill himself? Black people don't be doing that, okay? And we're not like just killing yourself for no reason, okay? That's not our steez. And so my friend always said that, oh no, Diddy did it. Like, I mean, that was the rumor. So that was the first time I'd heard about the Shakir Stewart dude, okay? Hold on a second. Now people are talking about that. There's a girl, Erica Kennedy, who wrote a book. She was friends with Kimora Lee and Kim, okay? And she wrote a book called Bling maybe 10 years ago. My earring. My earrings fell. Okay, let me change earrings. Somebody asked me if that was tobacco. Yes, what I do, and I have videos on my page about tobacco as well. Now I got mixed match earrings, but I gotta have my earrings. Hold up, what are my earrings? Oh, I see it. This earring won't stay in my ear anyway. What I do with the tobacco, this is a backwood. I run it under the water, right? So I don't just use it. I put it under the sink, under the faucet, under running water, let it get completely drenched in water, and I massage it while it's under the water. Then I put it on a paper towel and I blot it. You see how I put it on the paper towel, and then I blot it, and it takes all the residue off, and it makes it a much smoother smoke, because a lot of people say they don't like backwards because it's too rough, but if you do that, it's much smoother. And tobacco is also a medicine. Tobacco is a medicine and a poison. I've made a video about that as well on my YouTube page. The only time I smoke tobacco is when I put my weed in a tobacco leaf. Okay, never smoke cigarettes, don't smoke hookah, cigars, none of that. So anyhow, what was I gonna say? That I forgot what I was saying. Oh, that Erica Kennedy, he wrote a book called Bling, which I want to try to get. And this book apparently was about Diddy and that whole lifestyle, but she changed names and she ended up unalive, okay, after that book became a bestseller. So, Hefner, to my understanding, didn't unalive a bunch of people, okay? So Diddy's a whole lot worse, okay? Diddy's violent. I never heard. I'm not an expert on Hefner, so somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I've never heard of him having this super violent history. Diddy beat the mess out of Justin's football coach at UCLA, okay, or USC, whichever one of those schools he went to. Beat him in the head till the white meat came out with a kettlebell because Justin wasn't playing. Okay, so Diddy has a long violent history. And as we know, Diddy's father was a Harlem drug dealer or Harlem gangster or something. And let me tell you right now, I'm not into gangster stories, so it's hard for me to even follow, especially stuff that's happening with the mayor right now. And we have to remember, Mayor Adams, he's 64 years old. So he's of the true hip-hop generation too. And that's the thing about hip-hop, that it spans so many generations. There's someone like myself who's born in the 80s and someone who's born in the 60s are both of the hip-hop generation, right? Different eras, but Eric Adams is there from the beginning. So, and he's from New York, okay? We birthed this shit, okay? So people could say what they want, Atlanta, whatever. You ain't New York. You don't have the history. You don't have the legends, okay? New York City is where the real living legends of hip-hop are, okay? Where there's talented rappers all over the country, but New York City has more legends than anybody, all right? And we started this shit. Our history goes deeper than everybody, all right? So now you look at how Eric Adams, he was a part of that. And him and Diddy were cool. And he just gave Diddy the key to the city last year. You know he's messed up. You're from New York. And you're a cop. Do you understand? New York City has had hip-hop police since I don't know when. They're just paying attention to hip-hop and rappers. And it's interesting because Method Man's going to say, oh, what's happening with Diddy is not representative of the hip-hop culture. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because, and I made videos about female rappers and this female rap era right now and how much I love it. And you have little dudes and women, but little bitchy ass dudes complaining that women are always rapping about sex. All they do is talk about their ass. All they do is shake their ass. Da, 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 da. But meanwhile, dudes are being wild disrespectful. Let me tell you, I've never been a Biggie fan, okay? Like, I'm not going to say I didn't like a little bit of his songs back in the day because, but I really wasn't a fan of his. I've always turned off by Biggie. I always felt like Biggie was an asshole. I always felt like he didn't like women. I always felt like he was somebody who was fat and ugly and mad because girls didn't like him because he was fat and ugly, and then he wanted to get money so he could get girls. Okay, I remember when I was a teenager, my dad told me, hold on. I remember when I was a teenager, my dad told me, I don't care what any man says. Most of the things that straight men do, the cars they buy and da-da-da-da, most of that they do to get women. Okay, I remember my dad told me that. So I know good and damn well that Biggie wanted to get money like that so he could get attention of women. Okay? When these drug dealers say, oh, I was just selling crap to feed my daughter. Bullshit, okay? You know why? Because all these crack dealers, and I'm from Harlem, I'm from Sugar Hill, I was never trying to date no crack dealers or no thugs and no gangsters. I was never about that, okay? You know why? Because I had a dad, okay? I feel like a lot of the girls that are like that, they don't have a dad. And they come from hood rats, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I had a loving father in the home with some sense. So my brother was never a crack dealer. My brother never sold drugs. I never dated nobody like that. And I'm from Harlem, okay? I didn't grow up in the white suburbs. No. Okay. But when people ask me about different Harlem gangsters, I don't care about that. My dad was in the documentary American Gangster, and he was talking about some old school Harlem gangsters. I grew up with an old school Harlem gangster who is actually partial owner of Harlem World. Okay. Harlem World is, Harlem World was a club in Harlem that was instrumental in the beginning of hip hop. Okay. So my dad's friend Mookie, may he rest in peace, he was like a grandfather figure to me. He was a Detroit native. He was always fly as fuck because Detroit people be fly like Harlem people. Okay. Like Detroit fly matches Harlem fly. Chicago can get fly too, but Detroit and Harlem really be like taking the cake. So this man always had furs and gold chains, and he was funny, and he was like a grandfather to me. And I grew up and I found out he was an old school Harlem gangster, even though he was really a Detroit native. But those old school gentleman gangsters, okay? And that's the thing about Diddy. I knew, Suge Knight used to scare me, and I used to be like, how can any woman mess with Suge Knight? Like, I would be too scared to mess with him. He's scary to me. I used to say that. I used to always thought that, but I always said for years, Suge Knight is scary, and he seems like the bad one, but and I think he is. But I used to always say, I know Diddy is so much worse. I know he's so much worse because real gangsters wear suits, okay? That's what my dad told me from back in the day, that when he was growing up, and my dad's 82 from Florida, my dad told me when he was growing up, gangsters wore suits. And I know that Diddy's father was from Harlem, and they come from the old school stuff. So he was always, he got to a point where he was on his Sean John, trying to dress sophisticated all the time and act sophisticated. When he's absolutely the pure devil. Okay. So Mayor Adams is, somehow mixed up with him, and me trying to understand what's going on in my city, what's going on in New York, what's going on with the mayor, and why the feds got him, and he's over here, and we don't know why. And he's giving a talk about, they're trying to get me based on lies, and they're trying to raid my, so and so's office for documents from 20 years ago. But you're not telling us why, okay? I know that it has to do with Diddy. It's not a coincidence, okay? It's just obvious, okay? It's not a freaking coincidence that the feds were raiding his offices of his employees from before Diddy got indicted, okay? It's obvious to me. And then you had all these CEOs, the day Diddy got indicted, you had all these CEOs who stepped down, okay, around the world. The CEO of Barbie stepped down, okay? You had Kevin Lyles, you had there's so many things. So one of the things that Sloan Bella definitely said, this woman who was 100% accurate, she said Snoop Dogg is going down next. She said it's going to be very bad for him. Yep. Yeah, like Nas said, they are fake thugs, no love, they get the slugs. I'm glad Nas's name hasn't been mentioned because I love him. I would be heartbroken. I don't care about Jay-Z. I never liked Jay-Z. I always thought Jay-Z was trash. Okay. Always thought that. Jay-Z's not even in my top 20 favorite rappers. Okay. He's not one of my favorite rappers, period. Let me say that. Okay. But Lil Wayne is, though. Even though I'm tired of hearing Lil Wayne bitching about not being able to do the Super Bowl. Like, I don't want to hear rich people bitch about that. Man up and stop fucking whining. But anyhow. So the point of this video, the art is tainted, right? As an artist, I'm a dancer, but some of you may or may not know. I dance to many different things. I study many forms of black dance from the Americas and the Congo. All of them involve intense hip shaking and hip movements and gyrations and undulations. A lot of you know I like to dance in bikinis, but now I'm trying to dance in dresses more. But people can judge me all day. People can judge black women who twerk. Oh my God, she's twerking. Oh my God, she's disrespecting herself. Oh my God, her booty cheeks are shaking, right? But I have talked a lot about how healing these dances are. Black people in the world, in the Caribbean, in South America, in North America, in Africa, were not just shaking and gyrating for no reason. Okay? And especially over here in the Americas, we have the most intense shaking and gyrating. And a lot of that is because the dances are medicine, and it helps to shake off trauma and reset our energy fields. It can have a sexual component because, you have to observe the obvious. And if something is affecting your root chakra and you're here where your sexual organs are, it's going to stimulate those areas. It might seduce certain people, but the main reason is that it's healing. Okay? It's healing. It's healing for the person who's doing it. It can be healing for the person who's looking at it, but first and foremost, it's for the person who is embodying those dances and doing those movements with their body. What you do with your body affects your spirit, okay? And your chi, and your health, and your mental state, okay? So dancing has helped me through all kinds of traumas, okay? Dancing has helped me change my mood and get my mojo up and my chi up when I've needed it, okay? It's been one of the most effective tools when it comes to that. Gotta get the sun. Look, if I move over this way, let me see, I get the sun on my face. It's funny because I'm smoking this strain, Sunny G. And I'm all about the sun. Being the Leo baby that I am, ruled by the sun. So, let's turn this. Sorry. Can't talk while I'm smoking. People can judge me all day. Oh, you're shaking, and every other black girl who's doing that. But you know what? I have autonomy over my body. I haven't signed a contract with the devil who's making me violate people and, do deviant sexual things that are like, listen, people can do what they want when it's two consenting adults. But when you are coercing people, making them feel like they have to do this if they want to get this, or they signed a contract with you, so now they have to do this, which is what he did to Cassie. So when people say, oh, Cassie knew and Cassie just wanted the money, that's not what happened. Cassie signed a contract with him, and then she was stuck and had to do these things because she was in a contract. And then this man was violent, okay? That's one of the reasons why the feds wouldn't let him out in New York. Not just because they thought he might escape, but because he's violent and he's been threatening witnesses and threatening people. So when people say, oh, how come Cassie didn't say something sooner? And how come these other people didn't say something sooner? You know how many people that Diddy has unalived? First of all, let's start with City College, which is in Harlem, walking distance from where I was born and raised, okay? City College. In the 90s, I was a kid, and there was a concert that Heavy D was also involved in. And, people don't talk about Heavy D enough. I loved Heavy D. Again, talking about New York City legends. No city. I love rappers. I love some Atlanta rappers. I love some rappers from New Orleans. I love some rappers from Chicago, from Philly. But nobody has the amount of legends as New York City. Okay? In decades. So when other cities be trying to talk ish about New York, and New York fell off, nobody can say shit about New York and have some respect because we invented this shit. And all you guys would be broken board if it wasn't for us. So let me just say that. Let me also say Jamaicans didn't invent hip hop because they like to say that it's purely a Black American thing. And really the art of rhyming came from the South. Okay. So now that we got that out the way, a bunch of people died. Okay. In City College because of Diddy's negligence and not caring, and he was never held accountable. A pregnant girlfriend of, I think, Father MC, which is a little bit before my time in terms of like people I was fans of, but his pregnant girlfriend was trampled. Okay, Diddy didn't care about that. The situation that happened in a New York City nightclub with J-Lo. And how Sean went to jail after Diddy popped someone in the face, okay? And as you know, I said New York City don't play. New York City has the strictest gun laws in the country. Nobody even died in that situation. Okay? But it doesn't matter if somebody died or not. New York City doesn't play when it comes to guns and gunplay, illegal gunplay, which is all pretty much illegal in New York. Okay? So, um, with just his history in New York going back to the 90s, you think that the NYPD hasn't been watching him for years? Do you think that New York hasn't been watching him? Do you think New York doesn't know how messed up that man is? And it is so much worse than anybody could have imagined. So people, idolize, people will respect a singer who comes out and seems wholesome, or I don't know, a rapper or whatever. But then the girls who were shaking her ass in the video, like when Snoop was mad at the WAP song. I made a video about this too. When Snoop and all these stupid male rappers like CeeLo and other idiots who were dissing the WAP song, by Cardi and Megan. And so when I smoke, I'm gonna slow down. People say I talk too fast anyway, so I'll take a break and let you catch up when I puff. But I don't know. New York City has had a hip hop crime unit for a long time, and also I remember in 2017 I had an issue in Chicago. 2017, 2018. I had a sexual assault issue in Chicago with a illegal immigrant Ukrainian, okay? And somebody told me to go, oh, you should tell the police that's sexual assault, blah, 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 blah. And I remember talking to an ex-client of mine, okay? Ex-client friend of mine who's an ex-NYPD officer, New York Italian, Joe. And I told him what happened. And he said, yeah, you should go to the police, okay? And report that is sexual assault. And he told me that New York City, this might have been like early 2018. He said New York City is taking that very like he said, okay, New York City, and I wasn't in New York City, I was in Chicago. But he told me that New York had started a special unit that was just dedicated to celebrity sex crimes, and they were taking it very seriously, right? So that was the climate in New York at that time. Not necessarily in Chicago, but he didn't know what it was in Chicago. He was just telling me in New York, like that stuff is being taken very seriously, so much so that the NYPD had a special unit just to investigate celebrity sex crimes. And it was after the Weinstein thing. And so he told me that. So it's like New York has had their eye on him, just like they've had their eye on Trump, okay? Trump's criminal ass, and he's a criminal, okay? New York City is watching you. Every government, every country, every city, every state has some corruption. But New York City is more of a boss city than most places, okay? Despite the fact that every place has corruption, New York also be handling business. They be getting people. They don't be playing with people, okay? Seriously. So, I just feel like people talk bad about like how things have changed, right? Like let's talk about this new generation of hip hop artists. Older generations can say, oh, they're not lyricists, they don't know how to make songs, they this, they that, and insult them. Older generations can make fun of the younger generation, the people in their 20s and early 30s, and be like, oh, they're all drug addicts. And we used to sell drugs, and they rap about doing drugs as if that's better, because those of you who are drug dealers are the ones who ruined the hood and got people hooked on drugs. Anyway, you contributed to that. You contributed to the crap babies and the babies born on mothers addicted to whatever else you were selling. Okay, so now that you have a younger generation who's on all these drugs, it's like you contributed that. So how can you be looking down on them, first of all? Secondly, it's not just them, because a lot of older generation rappers have died of drug overdoses. DMX, okay? Gangsta Boo, like Yeah, I don't know. There's others. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Can't believe Diddy's from the same Harlem as the most influential rapper Tupac. Both very influential on the culture, but Diddy giving New York a bad rap. Yeah, and let me say, Tupac is so funny. Tupac's from Harlem, yes. And he's from my section of Harlem. There's different sections of Harlem. I'm from Sugar Hill, which is the dopest part of Harlem. Okay. A lot of times, it's the most legendary part of Harlem. A lot of times when people come to Harlem, they don't go to Sugar Hill. So if you've never been to New York, okay, if you go to New York, you must go to Harlem. Just so you know, it's in Manhattan. A lot of people don't realize that Harlem is in the borough of Manhattan, and Manhattan is the smallest borough in New York City. Manhattan is only 12 miles, okay? So if you happen to be in whack-ass Times Square, understand Harlem is like a 10-minute train ride away, north, uptown, uptown, uptown. Uptown is where Harlem, Washington Heights, and the Bronx is at, okay? We have Uptown Records. Now, I just want to say that Diddy was technically, um, raised in Mount Vernon, money-earning Mount Vernon, which is a suburb of the Bronx, which is where Heavy D is from. And DMX and Mary J. Blige are from Yonkers. Yonkers is like in the town right next to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is like a 20-minute drive, 15 to 20-minute drive from where I live in Upper Manhattan, Harlem. Just hop on the Deegan and I'll be there in 15 minutes, right? So that's how close it is. And the Bronx is like 2 minutes from where I live, okay? So, so technically he's from Mount Vernon, but his parents were from Harlem. But it's so close though. So people can say he's not really from Harlem, but it's so close, you know? Okay. So, okay, let me go back to my focus. Somebody in my live asked to see my dress. Maybe I'll stand up and show it to you. Maybe not. I don't know. A Brooklyn designer designed this. I got this from a dope woman. Maybe I will show it, but I wish I knew her name so I could post it because she's a dope designer and she was selling dresses at Dance Africa in Brooklyn. And every dress she has is only one of. So that's who made this. But anyhow, hip hop is toxic. Okay. And I feel like that's changing. And I feel like that's changing because there's more females. Okay. The women are dominant right now. Dominant. Most of the songs that are like going pop, minus Kendrick Lamar's "They Not Like Us," that's the song of the year. Okay. I wasn't even a huge Kendrick Lamar fan before, but now I'm like, yeah, that's the song of the year. That song, I will never get tired of that song. That's the anthem. That's the Black American anthem. Okay. They Not Like Us. All right. So, well, the Black Americans who are not Diddy's. Okay. So like, not Diddy, Biggie had a lot of really gay lyrics, okay? And not just gay, but also really disrespectful to women. And so when Biggie was big, I was in high school, and I remember, I didn't realize how gay his lyrics were back then, but I did realize how disrespectful they were to women for no reason, okay? Black women had been attacked so harshly, disrespected so bad in hip hop in the 90s. A lot of people like to have revisionist history and insult the current rappers and be like, oh, the 90s this and 90s that. There was a lot. I love hip hop from the 90s, okay? Even a lot of the songs that were disrespectful to women, because the thing about it is about how the voice sounds, how the flow on the beat sounds, and how, so sometimes the way somebody's flowing on the beat and the way their voice sounds and the way that beat hits, it's infectious, even when they're saying a bunch of dumb shit, okay? Even when they're saying a bunch of dumb shit. And to me, I'd rather hear girls talk about having sex and shaking their ass and what pleases them over talking about how many bodies I got and all the rocks I'm slinging and all that bitches I'm fucking. And it's this disrespectful thing, you know, because like LL Cool J used to rap about sex all the time, but he said things that turn women on. And as a man, okay, in case you didn't understand this, okay, like I need a better lighter. This shit is not really. So as a man, hold up. Now I might have to get up. Let me see. Oh, I don't know where my other lighter is at. Okay. I'm gonna have to deal with this one. So as a man, it's in your best interest to be able to turn a woman on, okay? If you can seduce a woman and make her already want you, like just the thought of you when she sees you, oh, the way you look, the way you talking, and then you're talking in a way as if you could please her. Because even like Lil Wayne, I have known a lot of women that have had crushes on him, which I never understood. Never found Lil Wayne attractive at all. But in Lil Wayne's raps, okay, he's one of my favorite rappers, okay? For sure, one of my favorite rappers. He was always rapping about pleasing women and like going down on women and doing it, like how good he was at that. And he always kept a beautiful woman too. And I'm like, but I always knew women that had crushes on him. I have a feeling that Lil Wayne's probably very good sexually, even though I do not find him attractive. But I also never found him to be disrespectful to women, which is one thing about New Orleans in general. You said, what part of Harlem is Pac from? Pac is from my part of Harlem, from Sugar Hill. He, if you watch the documentary on Netflix called Grass is Greener by Fab Five Freddy, which everybody should watch. I mean, you have to. Grass is Greener on Netflix. Watch it before it's not there anymore. Most of that documentary when he's in Harlem is in Sugar Hill. Everybody that he talks about in that documentary in that history is in Sugar Hill. Okay? So, and Juice, okay, was filmed not only in my neighborhood, in my building. Okay? So the apartment that Tupac lived in or whatever in Juice actually was in my friend of the family in her apartment, okay, on the 14th floor in the building I grew up in. And then Tupac, my brother found a video where Tupac was talking about this elementary school he went to, which was 5 blocks away from where I grew up. Now, my brother and I didn't go to that elementary school. My mother, hold on. My mother apparently had my brother at the barbershop and was listening to the parents in my neighborhood talking. And my mother decided our kids can't go to school with these kids, okay, because their parents were too ignorant hood rats. I don't know. I don't know what she heard, but she said, nope, our kids can't go to school with them. So I went to New York City public school. I'm not private school educated. I am a product of the New York City public school system, and I got an excellent education, which makes me pro public schools. And I can't speak about other cities, but I know New York City has some superb public schools. Even Nas talked about it in his song Daughters. He rapped about how he took his daughter out of private school and put her in public school because, what did he say? He said they something too. I forget, but he was talking about how he took his daughter out of private school and put her in public school. Okay, so New York City has some superb public schools. But anyhow, my mother got my brother and I in District 3. Which was on the Upper West Side. And I went to very mixed schools. So I went to schools with people from different parts of the city, different races, different religions, different socioeconomic statuses. But I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school in my neighborhood, and I didn't go to that school that Tupac went to. Now, in elementary school in New York, the only time I took the school bus was in elementary, and they would drop us off at another location. In New York City, they don't take you to your house. I feel like that's so lame. They don't take everybody home to their house so their parents can come get them off the bus. No. In New York City, they dropped us all off in one location, which was on 155th Street at the elementary school, and people had to come pick us up. So I had to wait there for my dad to come pick me up. And that's the school that Tupac went to. And when he had a video where he was in my neighborhood talking about it, and he was talking about how he used to cut school all the time, and my dad saw the video and he said, you see, that's why we didn't want you guys going to school in this neighborhood. Because it was too much hood element, okay? Like I wasn't cutting school in elementary school. I was going to school and doing my work and getting A's. Okay. So anyhow, um, people have been talking about gay rappers forever, and there's nothing wrong with being gay. Nothing at all. Okay. People would accuse hip hop of being homophobic, which I really feel like dancehall was homophobic. Okay. I don't really feel like hip hop was that homophobic. And if you listen to the stuff that Biggie was saying, if you go back and listen to a lot of his raps, he was saying some really explicit gay stuff in his songs. Okay. Like, first of all, he said, I'd rather fuck RuPaul than them ugly ass escape bitches. Like, why would he say that? First of all, escape, they were young girls and they were minding their business. What if those were your daughters? How would you feel if a grown ass male rapper said that? Why did you have to say that? Okay. And then you're saying you rather fuck RuPaul? So you rather fuck a man in a wig than them ugly ass escape bitches. There's so much wrong with that. Okay. Then Biggie said something about your Safana sucking your daddy's dick. What? Men have said a lot of things to me in my life, but they've never said, oh my God, you look so good. I want to suck your daddy's dick. Never. Okay. And to me, Biggie always sounded like somebody that was just mad at women, and like I just wasn't here for it. Okay. The double standard, okay, how you have, he was married, but then he's having an affair with Little Kim. Little Kim always seemed more upset about his death than Faith did. He was a woman beater. He beat Faith. He beat Kim. Faith apparently had sex with Tupac. Everybody had sex with Tupac. Tupac died at like 25, and it seemed like everybody had sex with Tupac. Not just that, Tupac was in a lot of relationships, not just had sex with. He was like engaged to Kadada Jones, Quincy Jones's daughter, when he died, I think. But everybody did he mess with. Sarah Chapman, the mother of his other daughter, Kim Porter, they all had sex with Tupac, okay, before him. And they wanted to. These women were attracted to him. I was never attracted to Tupac, but a lot of women were attracted to Tupac. And nobody's ever attracted to Diddy, okay? Nobody. You will never see anyone anywhere in the history of the world saying that they were attracted to Diddy. And so that's a Richard Pryor joke. Okay, that's good to know. But wasn't Richard Pryor gay too? Wasn't he bisexual or something? Just like Eddie Murphy. Okay. Now, a lot of these people, like if you look, this is when I'm going to get to the point. The art is tainted, right? Forget about just hip hop. Okay. If I look at TV shows that I loved in the 80s and 90s, okay, and probably even TV shows in the 70s when I wasn't living, right? Hold on, there's a loud train going by. If you look at those TV shows, okay, I'm gonna have to plug my phone up in a second. You go on YouTube and you see YouTubers who make videos about like the history of something. So there are YouTubers who have their YouTube channels where they'll give you the history of a TV show, or the truth about what was going on behind that show and why the show ended. And all these shows have terrible stories. Martin, I loved Martin. That was extremely toxic, and the things that he was doing to Gina and how he was harassing her. Then you see whether it's Fresh Prince or I love the Cosby Show. Okay, I love the Cosby Show. I love the Different World. Okay, but all of these shows have like these toxic, stories and histories behind them. Every time I loved In Vogue. Okay, you look at what In Vogue, TLC, it doesn't matter. You listen to their story of what was really going on, and they're all toxic and terrible and horrible. The entertainment industry is a terrible industry in business to get into. Terrible. Okay? And people have been okay with, you could have In Vogue, who I was a huge fan of, and they're dressed up in their beautiful dresses and they're really classy. And like back then, women couldn't be pregnant and be out. Like if In Vogue or whoever had kids, we didn't even see them pregnant. Okay. So it's not like now where you have female artists who are pregnant and they're still working and doing things throughout that. They don't have to go into hiding. Okay. So things have changed a lot when it comes to being a female artist, even, and the type of things, but also because back then you were stuck with the gatekeepers, right? Like you couldn't get a record deal or do anything by yourself. I mean, you couldn't do anything independently. Now, because of social media, first of all, if you're even going to get a record deal, you have to blow up on your own first. Before anyone in 2024 is going to give you a record deal, you have to already have a bunch of followers on Instagram and a bunch of followers on whatever social media platforms. You have to already prove to these companies that you can sell. They're not going to, nowadays, if you're just talented, but you don't have a social media following, no one's going to give you a book deal. No one's going to give you a record deal. It's not going to happen. Okay. So nowadays, there are artists who have blown up organically. I mean, you could say there's a logarithms and stuff on the internet as well, but still, it's people who have shown, so it's like you kind of have to show and prove first. So it's like, and there's so many ways to independently sell things and do things and make money on the internet that people aren't even buying CDs anymore. Like back in the day, the Master P's of the world had to be outside actually selling CDs. Now you could be at home selling music or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So those gatekeepers don't have the same kind of power. And we're seeing that there's a lot of sinister stuff going on, and people are going to be surprised with the people that get implicated. I've heard that Dame Dash is going to get pulled into it in a way that you don't realize. Snoop Dogg is about to go down. Usher's going to have a problem because Usher's not a good person. Okay, I feel like Usher was a victim and a violator. I feel like the consensus is everybody can see something happened to Usher with Diddy. But then Usher brought Justin Bieber to Diddy, and he didn't have to do that. Justin Bieber was under Usher's guardianship. I don't know. He was with Usher for a year. Usher took him to Diddy for 48 hours. Did you know that Diddy had custody of Bow Wow or some shit for a year? Did you know that? Usher is one person, but also Bow Wow. Did you know that Bow Wow, I don't know if he was 10 or 11, Bow Wow lived with Diddy as well for a year. And Bow Wow has really bad anger problems. He has this history of beating women and abusing women, which I wish Bow Wow would think he was about to beat me. I would kick Bow Wow dead in his throat. Okay. Like, no, I've never been hit by any man. I'm not trying to get into it with any man, but a little ass dude like Bow Wow thinking that he was going to, abuse me. Oh no, these thighs, he'll kick him, get him dead to his freaking throat. I promise you. So, but Bow Wow has some really bad anger issues, and he got some issues, and I think that something might happen, or I could say I'm pretty sure something happened with Diddy and Bow Wow. So it's like Diddy's hands and his ties go deep. Okay, the interactions of sinister things that have been happening. Um, the fact that he's connected to politicians all around the world. Okay, so what we're going to see is going to be. Let me see, what are the comments saying? Um, it's going to be far reaching. Okay. So somebody just said that the problem with today's rap is it's just too vulgar. Like the WAP song, it was too explicit. They don't even use lyrical skill for delivery. None of these rappers talked about sex, but it was less explicit and vulgar. So I disagree with that. Okay. We could definitely, um, we could definitely go through a lot of really vulgar songs from the 90s. Okay. There's a lot of really vulgar songs from the 90s. So we can stop that, number one. Number two, does anybody say that about Jamaican dancehall? Have you ever heard how vulgar Jamaican dancehall artists are, the women? If you study black music in the diaspora, even in Haiti, like Haitian Rara, the women say some really vulgar things. So if you listen to the songs, okay, in street music from a lot of places in the Americas, black populations, the women say really vulgar things. And the women are often more vulgar than the men. And that's true with the dancing as well. Okay? So, no. And who cares? Okay? We all come from sex. We all have sex. So what? So what if it's vulgar? As long as it's not talking about, um, as long as it's not talking about hurting someone. Sorry. As long as it's not talking about hurting someone and making someone do something against their will, then who cares? Okay. It's not having sex, or being sexual. What's wrong with that? Who is that hurting? Okay. Um, Yeah, if the music is from Africa or the Caribbean or South America, they don't judge them as harshly. People only say that about Black American music. Oh my God, the woman. Oh my God, if you have a girl in Atlanta who's twerking, and that's not easy to do, you see what Black American strippers do, the type of movements they do. It's not easy. And or oh my God, they're disrespecting themselves. But yeah, let it be a girl in Trinidad at Carnival. Let it be a woman in a village somewhere in West Africa or Central Africa. Oh, let it be a girl in Brazil in a bikini all greased up dancing samba. Oh, now that's cultural. But when it's Black Americans, oh, now we're disrespecting ourselves. It's ridiculous. Like Black people who say that sound like the colonizers. Hold on, I need to plug in my phone. Hold on. Oh, I'm trying to charge my phone, but it got wet earlier, and so it's saying that I can't charge it. Okay, I did an emergency override. Okay. First of all, someone said, look at Eve. She was my favorite, but she didn't explicitly talk about pussy. Man, it was overkill. Who cares if she was your favorite and that's your preference? Eve was also a female rapper in a man's world, okay? She was a female rapper when female rappers always had to be in a crew of dudes. Back then, every woman, you had Foxy was with Jay-Z, then she's with Nas. You had Kim was with Biggie, all right? Eve was with Rough Riders. Rod Digger was with Flip Mode Squad. Lauryn Hill was with the Fugees. Girls always had to be in a crew of dudes. Men need to stop trying to control women and our sexuality and our bodies and how we express ourselves. Shut the fuck up with that shit. Because in all honesty, women are more sexual, think about sex more than men do. And it's the patriarchy in men that has made us have to suppress ourselves. So now when you have an era where you have women doing what they want to do because they want to do it, like I've been saying, people always think that when women are twerking, they're doing it for men. There's so many times I've been around women where there's no men in the room, and these women are twerking. They're twerking on their best friend. They're twerking on their cousin. Okay? A friend of mine in D.C. was just riding his bike last week, and he saw a boat of women that were having a party on a boat, and he said they were twerking all over the boat. There was no men on the boat. And he was like, I wish I could get on that boat. And those women weren't thinking about no dudes, okay? Girls like to twerk. Girls like to do that and talk about that. So enough of that. Who cares? Who cares how vulgar it is? Who cares? What does that have to do with anything? Who is that hurting? It's a problem when you talk about selling crack to your community and selling drugs and the bodies you had and burying somebody 6 feet under. That's a problem. You rapping about hitting bitches. Focus on that shit. Who cares about women talking about sex, okay? Who cares? And you have all these, grown-ass men, I don't know, who are just doing Jay-Z. What was going on with him and Foxy? Back then, you had a 15-year-old girl with a grown-ass man rapping about sex. We don't have that now with these female rappers. These are grown-ass women. I don't see no 15-year-old girl with a grown-ass man rapping about sex. That wouldn't be accepted now. That was more of a problem than women today talking about sex. Okay? So there's a lot more there's a lot more healthy expression right now, okay? So, and it's like, for me, even if I could think about, like, if I can think about, you know, how somebody, I mean, when I listen to so much hip hop from the 90s, even battle rap, okay? Battle rap is very toxic to me. I'm not a fan of it, okay? I stopped being a fan of it in the early 2000s. You have two men sitting here dissing each other down, trying to break down and diss every single thing about each other. Horrible. But then people say women are toxic and women can't get along and women are catty. But you see these female rappers right now, they collaborate with each other. They support each other. They're not shooting each other. Do we see female rappers? Look at, everybody thought that Yo Gotti had something to do with Dolph's murder, okay? And now look, these stupid freaking dudes in Memphis getting paid $500 to shoot Dolph because, oh, it was my daughter's birthday. The dumbest shit ever, okay? These are what male rappers are doing. I think Diddy and Jay-Z killed Nipsey, okay? Look into the business that Nipsey had with Diddy and Jay-Z. Diddy was producing Nipsey's album. And people keep saying Nipsey was so smart, Nipsey was so smart, Nipsey was so smart. If he was so smart, why didn't he marry Lauren London, okay? Had a child with her, left her, you know, with your child to raise, but didn't marry her, okay? So, I mean, just on some business shit, okay? Because I'm sure that he knew that something like that might happen. And then why are you opening up a business in the hood, okay, and thinking that people love you so much that you can be in this, like if you want to open up a business in your neighborhood, fine, but do you need to be there? No, okay, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be that accessible. That's dumb, okay? Like, do you really think that when you come from LA, ignorant hood, I don't even use the N-word, okay? But if I use the N-word, I would say ignorant hood ends, okay? I don't even use that word. But you grew up in that element and you really believe that people love you so much that they won't get to you, okay? Number two, you made yourself so vulnerable. You don't see that happening with New York rappers. You don't see, you don't see like Jay-Z, like I'm gonna open up a store right across the street from Marcy Projects and be here every day. Like, okay. So moving on from that. Then number three, he was doing an album with Diddy and you see it right before he died. He's on the Breakfast Club. Diddy this, Diddy that, Diddy this, all up Diddy's ass. You see him at the white party or whatever that party is, Rock Nation brunch, whatever it is that Jay-Z and Diddy do. And you see Nipsey on one side of Diddy, Lauren London over here. So Lauren London was not next to Nipsey. Diddy's in between Lauren and Nipsey. Okay? And Diddy was all up on that album, and Jay-Z had a lot to do with some business stuff that Nipsey had as well. Okay, I think they're the ones that did that. So these male rappers and these male rappers and these gatekeepers are a problem, and they've made the artwork tainted. And that's not just hip hop. It's also just in singing. Like, I'm pretty sure that Whitney Houston, yes, Whitney Houston was addicted to drugs like a lot of these artists are. They want to get them addicted to drugs. So then when they want to take you out of here, they can easily take you out of here and make it just seem like, oh, this person OD. That's an easy thing. Like Prince. Prince died of fentanyl, okay? Why? Prince was supposed to be taking opioids. How did fentanyl get in Prince's opioids? Was he getting his opioids from the street? Because if you're getting actual opioids, it shouldn't be fentanyl in it, and that's what he died from. So is it that somebody put that in Prince's stuff because they wanted to take him out of here? The last person seen with Whitney Houston before she died was Ray J. I do not like him. I do not like him. Something is wrong with that family, first of all, okay? Because do you know the guy from, remember that group Immature? The dude from Immature that has the patch in his eye, he lost his eye because of Brandy, okay? Brandy was mad, and she threw a book across the room or something. And that book hit him in the eye and made him lose his eye. Then Brandy killed somebody in a car crash in LA. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing that you crash a car and kill somebody? What? There's no excuse for that, okay? Unless you had a seizure behind the wheel, there's no excuse for that. And then Ray J You do the sex tape with Kim Kardashian and keep talking about it like she's trash, but you were in the video too. And like 20 years later, you're still talking about it all the damn time. And you're the preacher's son. I feel like the preacher's kids are always the worst, but I didn't grow up religious, and I'm just like, how are you the preacher's son and you doing the most scandalous shit, okay? Like, come on. And trying to be judgmental. Let me see. So, the entertainment industry, the hip-hop industry has been run by thugs, by drug dealers and using drug dealer money, okay? And all these male rappers are bullshit. I feel like LL Cool J may be one of the few who wasn't beating a woman, don't got no rape charges. One of the few, okay? One of the very few. But people murking each other over jealousy. And then when you go to the other aspects of the entertainment industry, like I've long known that to get to that kind of money, they blackmail you. They have you do things on camera, or they drug you and you do some crazy stuff on camera, and then that's what they do to make you stay in line. So the art is tainted. People love Michael Jackson, but look at how miserable he was. He was a tortured soul. People love Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson has healed so many people. When I was a little girl, I wouldn't go to sleep without Michael Jackson playing. When I was at my grandmother's house, I went to sleep to Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson was a tortured soul. Do you know that he was groomed by Diana Ross? Do you know that he was engaged to Diana Ross? Okay? Like, she was way older than him. And she broke his heart. And the song Dirty Diana is about Diana Ross. And Quincy Jones said it was so bad, the things that he wrote, that he had to edit the song. Michael was very upset and heartbroken. Okay? So Diana Ross groomed him, messed with his head, had Michael all messed up. But besides that, there's so much sinister stuff behind every single TV show, every movie. Okay, people said that Diddy did what happened to Jamie Foxx, and I think that, just like I'll Be Sure. And Jamie Foxx said somebody was trying to kill him. And Jamie Foxx hasn't said anything since he's recovered from whatever happened to him last year. He's been quiet. Out of the damn limelight. That's what Dirty Looks by Diana is about Michael. What are you talking about? There's a song called Dirty Looks. No, but see, you're missing the point. When you say that's why I enjoy the music and not the artist, you're missing the point of what I'm making. I'm not talking about appreciating the art and not liking the person. That's a different point, right? Like I can say I love the Cosby Show, but I don't like Bill Cosby. Or I love R. Kelly's music, even though what he did was fucked up. That's one point, but that's not the point that I'm making. That's beside the point that I'm making. What I'm saying is people, like when people would say, oh, Mary J. Blige's fans loved when she was in pain because they said she made the best music. So Mary's fans would literally say, oh, Mary's happy now. She's not going to make good music. Oh, Mary just got a divorce. She's sad now. Mary makes the best music when she's sad. I've always heard people saying that about Mary. So that means as a fan, it's almost like you're getting pleasure out of the music or the art that this artist is creating. But this is coming out of a place of extreme torment and heartbreak and pain and torturous situations. So what I'm saying is, and sometimes these people are victims. It's not always a situation of they're a bad person, like in a case with a Bill Cosby or a Diddy. No, sometimes it's people who were tortured souls. They were taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? And so they're creating beautiful music like a Michael Jackson. Okay? And he's been terribly abused in ways that I don't think people are even aware of since he was a kid. So it's like, yes, he's giving you this beautiful music that you love, but he's a tortured soul. And as an artist, I think about this a lot, because almost every artist is creates this beautiful art out of a real place of pain. So in the one way, you could say the art is healing, right? Like, that's why I say I'm a dancer. My art form is dance. And my art form is dance. And anybody who's listened to me talk over the years knows I've always talked about the healing properties in the dances, the healing properties in black dances, all the shaking and gyrating. I've been talking about that for years. And times when I've gone through the most traumatic things in my life, soul breaking, heart shattering, and I'm not talking even about relationships, okay? Like, I mean, just bad. Dancing is one of the things, and weed, okay? Cannabis is very helpful, okay? But dancing, doing something with my body, getting up, moving, shaking, gyrating, stomping to the drums that's loud, shaking my head, my neck is going this way, my hips are going this way, my shoulders are doing this, my arms, I'm changing direction. After doing all of that, it shakes all that shit up off you. First of all, what are you talking about? Nah, I can't give Diddy that excuse, Makeda. He blew up Kid Cudi's car. That's not because he's abused. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not talking about Diddy. I'm not talking about Diddy at all. I'm not talking about Diddy. I don't give Diddy any excuses. When did you hear me say, in the examples I just gave right now, when did you just hear me say anything about Diddy? I didn't say Diddy's name. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about Michael Jackson. I mentioned Michael Jackson's name. I mentioned Bill Cosby's name. I didn't mention Diddy. Okay? And I didn't say that Bill Cosby was a victim. I said Bill Cosby wasn't a good person. Okay? So work on your critical thinking skills and your listening skills and your comprehension. So back to my point is that there are times in my life, dancing has been very healing to me. And as an artist, there's times that I've thought that you can say that artist, you know, creating art could be healing for them, but they could have an audience of people that really, they could have an audience of people who are getting healing from the art that this person is creating, whether it be paintings, whether it be music, whether it be dancing, whether it be songs. But that artist is a tortured soul their entire life. And so to me, I've thought to myself, I don't want to be that. Like, when you're a healer, okay, and you can say that some artists are healers, because art can be healing. So as a healer, sometimes healers need to be healed. Sometimes healers are dealing with so much, and it's like people can be coming to you telling you, oh my God, I love your work, I love your work. But you yourself are really not in a good place. You yourself could feel like, you know, agonizing inside. And that's why you might see so many artists who end up addicted to drugs, or they end up killing themselves or something. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying. And so art, I'm having a deeper conversation about art. And when you bring business into art, okay, when you bring big business into anything, it taints it. When you bring big business into food, when you bring big business into healthcare, when you bring big business into weed, when you bring big business into tobacco, when you bring big business into entertainment, into anything, it becomes tainted. Big business is a problem. Not small business, big business, okay? Big business is a problem. And, you know, to see that, you have people like a Justin Bieber, who is a talented artist just doing his thing on YouTube, and then got young and innocent put into the wrong hands and taken advantage of and traumatized. You know what I'm saying? The art is tainted. When you have someone like Martin Lawrence, who did an amazing TV show. I love Martin. But he was doing terrible things behind the scenes to Gina, and very toxic. Eddie Murphy is hilarious to me. Eddie Murphy is a toxic person. Just go watch the stories on his life, okay? Same thing with, what was I going to say? Just everybody, okay? A lot of them. Almost everybody, okay, that's in the entertainment industry. So I appreciate now where a lot of these men, okay, there are a lot of times women who are involved. There are a lot of times there are female co-conspirators. But the men be, the people at the top, the real leaders be men. I didn't say that Bill Cosby and Diddy were people who are abused and tortured souls. I didn't say that at all. You can rewind it. You're slow. I didn't say that at all. That is not what I said. Again, comprehension. Comprehension skills and critical thinking skills. But I didn't say that. I would never say that. When I talked about people who are tortured souls, I said Michael Jackson. Okay? That's what I said. So anyhow, yeah. So I just want to say I'm gonna finish this video soon because my phone is about to die. But you said they give a lot of themselves away and feel empty. Yeah, when you're a healer, like even if you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a massage therapist, a school teacher, okay? You have a lot of people pulling at you all the time. When you could be a mother, okay? And that's the case. You have a lot of people pulling at you all the time, and you're giving, and you're not being replenished like that. And you're giving, and helping everybody around you, but you're not being replenished. Everybody needs to be replenished. Everybody has to replenish their chi. Everybody has to have a way to regenerate their chi, build it up, strengthen it, protect it. We all do. And certain people are in certain roles in their life where they have a lot of energies pulling at them. And then when you are famous, you have a lot of people who know you and are thinking about you, and they're sending energy to you, you know. Yeah. So, with that being said, I'm going to end this video. I think my point was made. Let me see this last comment. Yeah, I just want to just end it with the fact that sorry, but the fact remains that a lot of the art is tainted because of men in positions of power who, and this is even, I mean, this is across industries, this is even in a religious field, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there aren't women who are, I'm not saying there aren't women abusers or women who are bad people, but when you see things on a mass scale, like a really huge, like level, mass scale, the people at the head that are really ahead of all this evil stuff be dudes, okay? And this shift, you know, there needs to be a shift in power. And again, I'm not saying there aren't women who are also brutal. And a lot of times when they're like that, it's because they were affected and trained by men, because it is a man's world. So a lot of times, almost every industry you get into, it's male dominated. And as a woman, you can't be 100% feminine. And you'll get tainted by the ways of how this industry is, whether that's the medical industry or law or blah, 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 blah. But, yeah. So, whenever you see religious leaders who be leading people to like nonsense, a lot of times it's men. All right. But the art is tainted. All this commercial art. I'm just going to say, when I think about myself, I think that everything I do has to do with educating, healing, putting good energy into the world. And so, you know, people, I have critical, you know, I analyze, and it's like, people could be like, oh my God, you're dancing in a bikini. Oh my God. Like, that's a problem. But meanwhile, I'm not, you know, I'm not coming from a place of trauma. I'm not abusing anybody. I'm not, you know, so love. Meanwhile, you have people who are posing as, oh, you know, you could be fully clothed or whatever, and I'm so classy, I'm so this, and behind closed doors, you're doing really sinister things. I mean, really messed up shit. Inexcusable. Just so you can make all this money. You don't even have, a lot of people don't even have control over themselves. A lot of these artists don't have control over how they move and what they do. You signed away your autonomy as an artist. Okay? You really did sign your soul to the devil, because if you get out of line from what you agreed to, then you will be destroyed. So people are choosing to do that for money. So that's the thing to me too with Kanye. Kanye was too obsessed with being a billionaire. Somebody that's that obsessed with, I have to be a billionaire, you're so obsessed with that, you're going to do bad business. You can't do that without getting into bed with major corporations. And all these corporations are the problem with the world, okay? All of them. So I'm going to end this video. I love to see New York doing what it does and taking people down. What's happening with the mayor is crazy. The police commissioner, all these people that work for the mayor. Also, the head of the New York City Public Schools. And Sloan Bella said this. She said the certain people are going to be taken down around this Diddy situation. She said he's connected to politicians, not just in America, but around the world. Okay? So it's going to be way more far-reaching than anybody realizes. So just wait. Anyhow, I'm going to go. Have a good day. See you guys later. Follow me on YouTube and Instagram, okay? Bye.